incurable creators. I'm excited to bring you some bonus episodes featuring exclusive interviews from the 2023 PodUp Virtual Podcasting Summit. Each Thursday for months, you're going to hear interviews from a diverse range of podcasting and marketing experts. My hope is these repurposed interviews will inspire you with new ideas and insights to take your podcast to the next level. And of course, remember to listen every Tuesday for our regular episodes of Podcasting Secrets as well. Now, let's dive into today's bonus interview from PodUp's 2013 Podcasting Summit. Hello, I'm Nathan Gwilliam, the CEO of PodUp and your host for the Podcasting Summit. In this interview, I'm joined with Katie Brinkley. Katie is the founder of Next Step Social Communications. She has a podcast called Rocky Mountain Marketing. She's an expert in leveraging social media for growth. She has more than 19 years of experience helping businesses of all sizes, including AT&T and DirecTV. And today we're going to talk about how to grow your podcast using Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us, Katie.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So can you start off by just sharing with us your journey to become an Instagram marketing expert?
Yeah, when I started, like you said, 19 years ago is when I started in the world of social media, and it was with MySpace. I was actually helping bands with their MySpace pages, getting off of MySpace and onto the radio, and being a social media anything didn't exist. So I've always really been drawn to the power of social media when you go in strategically and with intention. And when I started with MySpace, then it was Facebook, then Instagram, and LinkedIn, all of them. I wanted to learn the best strategies for growth and ways to maximize your impact with as little time as possible on these actual platforms. Because I don't know about you, but I have a business to run. It might be a social media agency, but I can't spend all day on social media. So I've just loved learning about the best strategies to get the most impact. And Instagram was one of the first tools that I really went all in on for my business. And when I was working back at AT&T and DirecTV, that was one where it's changed so much, specifically in the last 4 years. But it's an incredible way of creating community with your audience, and Instagram can be an incredible tool when you know how to use it the right way.
So why Instagram? Why have you gravitated to this, and why is Instagram so good for podcasters and businesses?
I love Instagram for the reasons that you can post a variety of ways. So whether it's going live, you want to do a carousel post, you want to do a short form video, you want to do a story that's gone in 24 hours. There's a abundance of ways to post to the platform. And I still think it's one of the best ways to get organic reach on your content as a business owner. Unfortunately for Facebook, if you're a Facebook business page and you have 1,000 followers, your content's only being shown to between 1% and 3% of your following. That's 10 to 30 people organically. And I don't know about you, but that almost seems like a waste of time. Whereas with Instagram, you still have the opportunity for having people that don't follow you see your content when you post the right way. And if you're creating content on Instagram, you can show up, give your podcast a little bit of a face so that they know who's actually behind the microphone.
Okay, a minute ago, you talked about being passionate about the best strategies to get the most impact from social. Can you share with us what are some of the best strategies that are working today to help us get the most impact from social?
I think that one of the best strategies right now is to take a step back. I think that in a world of more, we're hearing that you have to be on more platforms, you have to post more content, you're not doing enough. And I don't know about you, but that sounds extremely overwhelming, and it makes me not want to do it at all. If you take a giant step back and think about what platforms are my ideal client, are my listeners on, and how can I connect with them, go all in on one platform. If it's Instagram, like I said, you have 6 different ways to create content on it. And you have to remember, everyone consumes content differently. So you have to, whether it's a short form video or it's a image or text-based and using threads, there's a way to connect with your ideal client and customer on this platform. And you don't need to be on all of them. I know it's super easy just to hit a little toggle and share it to the masses, but all these platforms have different audiences. They have different ways of creating content. When you go all in on one, you're going to be less overwhelmed, and you're going to be posting specifically for the people you want to hear your message.
I know that's a strategy that's worked for a lot of people where they focus on one first and then they expand out to other channels once they have that following and that reach. So I've seen it work both ways. I've seen people do a lot, but I've seen that strategy work really well.
I mean, for me, I started my business with just Instagram, and then I added in LinkedIn. And it wasn't until 2023 that we've started posting to Facebook for the business. And I mean, we've been in business for nearly 7 years now. So it takes time on each of these platforms. You have to actually spend time on them and engage with your audience on there, because if you're just posting, then you're not going to be able to have the type of connection. You're not going to build that community around your business, around your brand, around your podcast that you could be. And one of the things I love about social media, if you have a podcast, this is your way to talk to your audience. I mean, if you think about a podcast, here we are recording, it's you and I having a conversation, Nathan, and they're just listening. Whereas if you're on social media, you're showing your face, you're showing, how you can give value, you're showing up live, you're creating a whole new sense of connection with your audience. And there's been times where, someone will say, hey, I'd love to listen to this episode. I can send them the link, and then I can actually ask them, what did you think of this episode? What was your biggest takeaway?
Okay. Any other strategies that you think right now are giving great impact?
Well, I have my awareness to action strategy, and it's the 4-post strategy where you post 3-4 times a week, and it's in this same cycle of an awareness post, a tip or tutorial, a community building post, and then an action post. So asking people to leave the platform, take an action, either download your freebie, listen to your podcast, whatever. You're asking them on that one post to actually take action. And we've found with this, it increases reach, it increases engagement, and you're not burning people out. You're actually able to educate them and make them aware of what it is that the problem that you're solving. So if you have a podcast episode, I don't know about you, but I've never gone to Instagram to listen to a podcast. I've gone to Apple or gone to Spotify to listen to a podcast. So if someone's opening up their Instagram account, how can you get them to listen to your podcast? And it's by nurturing them along with this awareness to action strategy, making them aware of the problem, educating them a little bit further on the problem, community building, showing them how you yourself were able to overcome this problem, and fourth, asking them to take action.
So Katie, I love this strategy of simplifying it down to just 4 posts a week. That feels so much less overwhelming than some of these influencers that are posting several times a day. And I love that you systematized it to where, you know exactly what those 4 posts need to be. Could you go through each of those 4 post types, just explain them in a little more detail so people understand, what you mean by each of those?
So for Instagram, if you wanted to have an awareness post, right now the best way to get reach is through a reel. And think about an awareness post as Forrest Gump on the Jenny, throwing his net off the side, and he wants to try and catch as many shrimp as possible. Well, he's going to bring his net on, and it's mostly shrimp, but there might be a catfish in there, or maybe a boot. And with all of these shrimp in here, you have the majority of who you want to talk to. And that's a reel right now. Majority of the reels are being pushed out to your audience and people that look like your audience. So you're getting a couple stragglers in there that might not be an ideal fit, but majority of them are. So an awareness post would be a reel. And maybe your reel is, this tool saves me 3 hours a week, and it's Cap Show. And so we're going, that's it. That's the reel. And maybe I'm using trending audio with it. Well, the next post, a tip or tutorial post, is going to be a carousel. And I say how Cap Show allowed me to take on one more client every month. And it allows me to simplify my podcast editing, and it allows me to simplify my content creation, and da-da-da-da. And it's all these different swipes of a carousel. And then the third post is community building. How Cap Show allowed me to become my daughter's softball coach. And in this, it'll be a picture of me and my daughter, just a single image. And it says in the caption something along the lines of like, oh, well, as an entrepreneur, I was burnt out at the end of the day. And my daughter signed up for softball. She really wanted me to be her coach. I wanted to be her coach, but I was exhausted by the time I got home. Until I found CapShow, and it gave me 3 hours of my week back. Now, on Thursdays, I'm allowed to leave the office at 2, and I can grab a Starbucks on the way home, get re-energized, and now I have the energy to be my daughter's softball coach. And then the fourth post is the action post. So in this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing, I sit down with the creator of CapShow, Deidre Sen, and she talks to me about what made her decide to create this time-saving tool that's helping millions of podcasters. If you want to listen to the episode, comment podcast below. So now I've taken people from being aware of, hey, there's a tool out there that will give you your time back. Now, this is how this tool has given me 3 hours of my time back. These are all the different cool features of it. This is what I've done with that time, those 3 hours that I've gotten back. And fourth post is, I have a podcast where I actually sit down with the CEO and we go into way more details. Don't you want to listen?
Okay. Any others? One last strategy that's getting great impact on Instagram right now?
I think that you can't overlook stories, the stories feature of Instagram. 80% of people visit stories before they even visit the feed. So if you're not posting to stories, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. I'm not saying that you need to post 42 stories a day, but just check in with your followers. The stories are shown to people that follow you, and it allows you to give a little bit of the behind the scenes, showcase a little bit of your life, and allows you to connect with people in a whole new way. So don't forget about Instagram stories. It is a great spot to build up that know, like, and trust factor with your current following.
What are the biggest mistakes that you've seen people make with their Instagram marketing? And how do we avoid them?
Well, there's two. One, only selling all the time or only asking people to listen to the podcast. Like I said before, I've never gone to Instagram to listen to a show. So, I mean, again, and I know it's hard because we want more downloads. We want more people to listen to our shows, but you have to make people aware of the problem. So don't just show up and sell. And then the other mistake I see people making is only creating one type of content. You need to remember that everyone consumes content differently, whether it's a reel or a single image or stories. Everyone consumes content differently. I don't watch reels because most of the time when I'm on social media, I have a 6 and a 9-year-old, and so they're watching some sort of a Disney movie and I have the sound off. So reels, I just scroll right on past them. Now you show me a good old-fashioned carousel post with a long caption and I'm all in. So you have to remember that everyone consumes content differently and that you should be creating a variety of content for your audience every week.
Okay, let's talk about the Instagram profile. How do we optimize the elements of our profile to best grow our reach?
The Instagram name field and the Instagram URL are SEO searchable. So if you look at, like my profile is I am Katie Brinkley. And so if anyone searches Katie Brinkley, I'll pop up. There will be like 3 other ones that'll pop up, but I'm one of them. And so if you search my name, I'll pop up from my username. And then there's also the name field. So mine says Katie Brinkley / social media strategy speaker. And the reason I have that in there is because if anyone's looking for social media strategy, I want my name to pop up. I also want, if someone's looking for a speaker, I want to pop up. So make sure that you're optimizing your Instagram name field. It doesn't need to be the exact same as your username, and because both of those can be searched. So make sure that you're optimizing both of those.
You talk about optimization, and that comes back to the Instagram algorithm. How does that algorithm work, and how do we leverage that to our advantage?
It's different for everybody. And it's funny because my Instagram, I have the opportunity to see a lot of different feeds. We build our own algorithms. Like I said earlier, I don't watch reels because most of the time when I'm on it, I'm scrolling right on through because I have the sound off. Whereas one of my clients, Kim, her feed is basically TikTok because she creates almost all reels. She watches reels. She engages with them. So the way her algorithm is built is to show more reels. So you have to make sure that you are creating that variety of content. And when you like or comment on somebody's post, you're building your algorithm out. So keep in mind that if you don't like what you see in your feed, you have no one to blame but yourself. So you have to make sure that you're commenting and you're engaging effectively and strategically. As far as like getting more reach, SEO, like your captions need to be written with SEO in mind. These social media platforms are getting smarter and smarter. They're looking for what's in your caption and they're trying to push it out to the right audience. So you have to be mindful of the captions that you're writing.
So this concept of what you do determines what's in your feed. The same thing is true of your audience. What they do is in their feed. So if you can get them to comment on your posts or engage with your posts, that probably means your content is going to show up in their feeds more often.
You can post less on social media and post less on Instagram if you're spending 10 minutes a day engaging with your ideal clients and customers. If you're engaging with their content, building out your algorithm, you're going to be sending the right traffic to your posts, to your feed, and that's going to help the Instagram algorithm, again, continue to recommend you to the right audience.
So how do you stay consistent? What advice do you have for people that might have a hard time consistently posting 4 times a week as you recommend?
Well, I think that posting 3 or 4 times a week is way more manageable than having to post every day. And especially when you use this 4-post strategy, you are posting fewer times throughout the week, and you're posting really about one topic. You're just expanding on it 4 different ways. You're still promoting the podcast every week, but you're explaining it 4 different ways throughout the week. So it's not going to be as hard for you to remain consistent because it's really just one topic that you're talking about every week. Consistency is one of the hardest things to remain consistent with on social media. But even if you can't post, if you fall off the wagon of remaining consistent with how often you're posting, show up and engage for 10 minutes. That's it. Engage with your ideal clients, engage with your followers for 10 minutes. And that will just help you stay relevant in their minds of like, oh, she's still here. They're still on the app. I just haven't seen their posts in a bit. So engagement is huge on these social media platforms.
So you're talking about engagement, and I'd like to explore that a little bit in more depth. When you gave an example of a post a few minutes ago, you asked a question in your sample post. And I've seen that asking a question tends to give me a lot more engagement. And if so, what are some of the other strategies that you've seen that help to increase that user engagement?
There's two sides of the fence here for like comment podcast below or leave this comment below. But I've found it to be very helpful for people to then comment that basically they're saying like, I want you to send me your thing. I want the link. And it allows you to have that, private, that DM conversation. If I were just to show up in your DMs, Nathan, after you liked a post, you'd kind of be like, oh, that's a little forward. Why is she here? But if you commented podcast underneath one of my posts, it's not weird for me to show up in your DM saying, hey, Nathan, thanks for commenting podcast. Here's a link to the episode that I was talking about.
Talk to me about hashtags for a second. How do we use those most effectively?
Hashtags, they're still relevant, especially on Instagram. I use them mostly for outbound engagement. So again, finding my ideal clients and customers to talk to and to engage with. But use at least 15 hashtags on your posts. Hashtag love, hashtag podcast. Those ones are a waste of time unless you have 100,000 followers. You're never going to be seen with that hashtag. You're never going to get ranked with that hashtag. So it's a waste of space. So be specific. Hashtag marketing podcast, hashtag Denver podcast. Those aren't being used as much, but I'm going to have a much longer shelf life using those and potentially being found by my target audience at some point, as opposed to just having a blip of a second in the hashtag hub of hashtag podcast.
So kind of the long tail of hashtags instead of going after the primary keyword. Talk to me about organic followers. You shared some strategies of growing our following, such as using Reels and now hashtags and SEO. Any other strategies for growing followers organically?
I feel like I keep saying this, that the outbound engagement is huge, because if you're posting valuable content, even if it's 3 times a month, but you're engaging, like I said, just 10 minutes every day, find 5 hashtags that your ideal client identifies with. Hashtag, for me, I've worked with a lot of real estate agents, hashtag Denver Realtor, hashtag Women Who Podcast. I spend a lot of time in those hashtag hubs just commenting on their posts. I'm not asking them to listen to my podcast. I'm not asking them to follow me or do anything. I'm reading their posts and I'm leaving a genuine comment. Those people will see my genuine comment and be like, who is this I am Katie Brinkley person? They'll tootle on over to my account and be like, oh, she has a bunch of great tips here for free. I want to follow her. It's a great way of growing with targeted ideal clients and ideal followers.
I heard Russell Brunson once say that no matter how big the social media influencer is, they always look at who's engaging with their content. And if you want to get in front of those people, the best way to do it is go and engage with them. Okay, talk to me about like partnerships and collaborations and shout outs. What advice do you have for us about growing our followers with those strategies?
That is one of the best ways to grow, is to find people that you can collaborate with. So go live with up to 4 people. You can do, I did a collaboration reel a few weeks ago, and we shared it to both of our accounts. And when that happens, all of your followers from both accounts or all 4 accounts get notified. Collaborations, when done strategically, are huge. So if you share a similar audience to somebody, absolutely try and find a way to collaborate, whether it's, like I said, going live, doing a reel together, doing a post, even if it's just a post. Like I wear these Inca shoes all the time. I would love Incas to want to do a collaboration post with me. So next time, because I wear these whenever I go on stage and speak, I would love for them to just be like, we partner with her. I'd probably get a lot of followers. So, I mean, like, find those people that you can collaborate with and try and build out some opportunities where you have a like-minded, a similar audience, and you can use each other's audiences to grow.
Yeah, I love the cool shirts, the KUHL brand of shirts. I wear those all the time. I wish they would partner and sponsor me. Sometimes people go and they buy followers and they're fake followers. What advice do you have related to that? And how do you kind of weed out which strategies are legit and which ones aren't for growing followers?
Well, buying followers is never a legit strategy. And all it's going to do is mess up all of your insights and your data and your metrics. And it's not expensive to buy followers. It's cheap as like $100 to buy like 1,000 followers, maybe even cheaper now. I don't know. But it's not expensive to buy them. But this is where, again, like I once had a client who came to me and they said, yeah, well, the last social media agency we worked with, they had us buy some followers just to get started. And so they were a women's app, a women's health app for women over 40. And all of their followers were 13-year-old boys that lived in Brazil. So of course we're not getting any engagement. They don't care about women's health. So, I mean, we were creating all this content and it was an uphill battle because we were just constantly trying to, get the metrics so that they were shifted more towards our ideal client. And so, I mean, you can very easily see if somebody has bought followers. You can very easily see which accounts are, have purchased followers, likes, views. You can buy all of that. And you can even buy comments now. But you can, if you look closely, you can tell which ones are real and which ones aren't.
Okay, which key performance metrics should I be looking at on Instagram?
Profile views.
Profile views, okay.
If people are going to your profile, that means they want to learn more about you. They're going there to either click your website, they're interested in following you, they're interested in looking at more of your content. That's why it's so important to have an optimized bio, because that's your first impression. So profile views are huge. And if your profile views are increasing every month, that means that you're doing something right.
How can I use Instagram Insights to refine my content strategy?
You should be looking at your Instagram Insights at least once a quarter. I look at mine once a month because I'm kind of crazy like that, but I know exactly who it is that I'm talking to. So on Instagram, 82% of my audience is female and their age is 35 to 54. But I know I can say, and I know where they live. I know I can share videos of me like being a mom and like in the car with them or at their soccer practices. And then on LinkedIn, I know that my audience is mostly male and they're founders. It's probably not going to resonate with them so much if I'm complaining about like having to go to another soccer game or something. So when you know who it is that you're talking to, you can craft your captions so that they'll convert more. You can create the type of content that they're going to want to engage with more. So you have to look at your insights on a regular basis to see who it is that you're talking to.
Talk to me about Instagram paid advertising.
Yeah, so I mean, the Facebook Business Studio or Facebook Ad Studio is a great way to do Instagram ads. It's one of you can boost directly through Instagram, but I recommend using Facebook Ad Studio because it's a little bit more robust and you can do just specific Instagram ads through Facebook Ad Studio. But I mean, you're able to get really targeted with who you're getting in touch with. You can even use email lists. You can use retargeting. So I would strongly recommend using the Facebook Ad Studio for any sort of Instagram ads.
Any advice on how to do that retargeting effectively?
Make sure that you have your pixels installed on your website so that you can retarget the right people, and make sure that you're not retargeting them with the same post or the same ad that they've already seen. Shake it up a little bit and maybe give them a discount offer, or have that, if it's for a podcast, have them listen to a different episode. So again, for retargeting, make sure it's not the same ad that you used to get them in originally.
What emerging trends or features on Instagram should we be keeping an eye out for growth this coming year?
Yeah, so I mean, Threads kind of had a big splash in July when they came out. 150 million users downloaded the app in the first 10 days. Now they're down to like 15 million daily active users. That's a big drop, but still 15 million people. So, don't discount Threads. I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg is going to roll it up that fast. I mean, it's a pretty new aspect of Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, post to it here and there. I mean, and if you like X or Twitter, use more of Threads. It's there. Like I said, I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg's going to roll up the project that quickly.
Can you give us any examples of organizations or individuals that have successfully leveraged Instagram and seen significant growth, and what can we learn from them?
Patagonia has done a really good job with their Instagram as far as like a big name. They've done a really good job of showing the whole lifestyle and telling the story and sharing user-generated content. So I love Patagonia as a case study for Instagram specifically. One of my clients is a home organizer, and when she started working with us, she had 1,600 followers, and she was a solopreneur. And it was during COVID. And when you're a home organizer, it's really hard to go in and organize people's homes when you're in the middle of a lockdown. And one thing that we were, through her posting consistently on Instagram, using this strategy, she's at 36,000 followers now. She has a team of 7. Her company didn't fold during COVID. In fact, she was still able to do virtual consultations. She was able to still grow. And by the time the world opened up, she had enough of a list of people ready to do business with her that she could go out and hit the ground running and start expanding her team.
I love those people that take advantage of going opposite the market, right? Everyone's stopping doing something and they do exactly opposite and they double down. That's sometimes a really good strategy to do the opposite of what all your competition is doing. All right, Katie, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us today. If our audience has enjoyed what you've shared, what are some of the best ways they can learn about your products and services?
Yeah, you can check out katiebrinkley.com. That's the best way to get in touch with me. And I'm on social media, so connect with me on Instagram at I am Katie Brinkley.
For those of you that are watching or listening, if you have not checked out our VIP upgrade package, it's completely free. You can click on the button below and see 4 incredible bonuses that we're providing for you. Just click on that link. Thank you so much, and we wish you success in leveraging Instagram to grow your podcast.